The following podcast may contain spoilers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back, finally, to another Treading the Path of Heaven podcast. Oh, geez. We've been saying we're going to record for like a month and a half, and we've like set up like 6 meetings to do it, and like something came up literally every time. I got super sick for like 2 weeks. Oh, man.
Me too.
It was a whole ordeal.
I moved states twice since we last recorded.
Jeez, it has been quite a bit.
Yeah, man.
But we are excited to be back in the saddle again. We are here talking about a book that is, I think, kind of very special to the podcast because both the editor and the author, I think, are very special to both of us. We are talking about Deathblade's translation of Ergen's work, Beyond the Timescape.
It's so good. I've been trying to record this episode.
And I have been taking forever to be ready to record this episode, but I'm finally about halfway through the book, and holy shit, is it got some amazing stuff in it.
It's really good. It's really quality. Please read it. Like, we're gonna cover. Are we gonna touch on these spoilers? This isn't really a Knights episode, so
I think honestly we should talk at for the first half. Like, we should get 30 minutes where we only talk about the first half of the book, chapters 100 to 200 maybe, and then go a little bit spoilery after that point. And even if we have to talk about stuff that I haven't read yet, I'm okay with that, because it's the journey here is so good. I don't care.
I need to take a second, right? And I need to check where I last stopped, because I am pretty up to date. Okay, that's where I'm at. I have to point out, Deathblade translates so fast. He translates so fast.
Well, I think he's just one of those actually responsible people that does his work ahead of time and has a a hopper of chapters ready to go.
This is one of the few books that I'm paying for. I paid for extra chapters. Then I caught up, right? I was fully caught up, and then I took a week break, and there's just hundreds of 100 more chapters got added.
He's insane, and
he's
not only
machine.
Is he insane, the quality of his translations are insane. I'm not just saying this because he was a guest on the podcast once. He leaves footnotes, and he explains the nuance of the things he translated and why he translated it that way, and it just gives you. I feel like I've learned more about Chinese sayings and the way they write stuff because I understand how he's changing it to make it more palatable to us.
The fact that he all of his notes are he has links, pictures. You can picture stuff. He questions. I love the little notes where they introduce a character, and then towards the end you're gonna get, what did Madame Deathblade think of this name? What does it, if she met this name, what vibe do you get from it? I love it. It's so good.
Oh yeah, no, this evokes the feeling of a man standing in the sky looking below on a field of countless followers. It's goddamn, that's sick.
Or they'll introduce a character, and she's it seemed like it'd be a nice girl. This is the name of a nice girl, and it's definitely not a nice girl in the story.
No, Madame Deathblade's respect/shade has been entertaining or informative basically every time. So again, I'm gonna probably mention it a bunch of times throughout this, but Deathblade's translation has just raised what is already a very good novel to another level. But rather than talking about stuff outside the novel, let's get into what this book is actually about. We've talked about Meng Hao. We've briefly talked about some of the other characters. We've mentioned Bai Xiaochun in passing. Ergen definitely has a style that he wants for his protagonist. He's got this scholarly type that's falls into the right lucky situations and becomes insanely powerful and scheming and all these sorts of things. But I feel like this one kind of breaks the mold a little bit. in that the other ones, they started out as, kind of naive and grew into being wily foxes that could out scheme everyone around them. And I feel like Zhu Qing, like, he's already well into his becoming a wily fox when we meet him.
Dude, I can't even call him a wily fox. The man's a spider, bro.
No, that's
he's a spider, and that really, as someone who's super far, that doesn't really go away. The man, he definitely becomes like definitely grows more into people. I love that. He's definitely a character that is very much pragmatic, very much efficient, but like he's one of those people who if he falls in love with the idea of somebody, and they've done right by him, he does extremely right.
Yeah. Well, I think the book put it like, he's only spent his entire life trying to survive, and that like it's always been his only goal. So anyone who shows him kindness or provides him with warmth or protection, they become like very close and tied to his heart. And I love that about him. But that's what I think is fascinating about this character. All of his other characters were people that were humans that then grew to become merciless and cruel. And Zhu Qing's arc has kind of been the opposite so far, at least where I'm at, where it's about a cold, savage, murderous person who's like slowly over time learning to be human again.
Oh yeah, I definitely, for the first 200 chapters, that's definitely the character for sure.
Yeah, I'm starting to get past that, and now there's starting to be some different, more interesting plot threads that are happening now.
I mean, he has such a rich personality because he has such a rich history. Because the passage of time and the relationships with characters, like I feel like Ergen wrote probably like 15 main characters in this story. And you're going to continue to meet these characters that are main characters. And the way the story's being written, yeah, we're getting a certain perspective. But I'm telling you right now, what you're getting, there's like easily 20 or 30 different cultivation like storylines happening outside of the main character, and the main character's interacting with it. Like people. This is
he's just tangentially around watching all these other people also become strong, and like everyone's got their own methods to become strong, and everyone's constantly pursuing them all the time. And it feels great because like we're watching our main character Zhu Qing become strong, but like we're also getting to watch the captain's cultivation, and we're getting to watch like.
Oh, so okay, you met the captain.
Oh yeah, no, I'm well into the captain era.
Do you know the captain's name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. There's so much more to the captain, though. The captain.
Oh.
He might be my favorite character. He might be my favorite character because he feels like he might be the original main character in the story, but he was like, I can't write another I Shall Seal the Heavens. I can't write another A Will Eternal.
It feels exactly that way. I absolutely agree. Especially to the point where he has like, if you're looking at like a Japanese isekai or like any story like that, where you've got the main character who's constantly going up against problems and just like grumbling about them constantly internally and being like, oh, why can't I be the fucking pretty boy who gets all the girls without trying? Why can't I do all these things? Like that's the captain.
Yeah. We gotta tell the editor to edit that out because we cannot spoil that weird name.
Like the captain has those internal dialogues constantly as he's looking at Zhu Qing. Like Zhu Qing is that side character that gets everybody in the anime while they just like sit there and bitch about it.
100%. He honestly, yeah. He's got some Sasuke-isms to him for sure. For sure, he got some classic pretty boy, but edgy Avenger head ass.
He is. He's pretty like I don't know.
But he's not. But he's not. But he's not.
Yeah,
but he has some of it.
So let's go back to the start of the story and kind of talk about who Zhu Qing is when we meet him. This book literally starts with him like in a almost Resident Evil like apocalyptic survival thing where like he's surviving the transition of a place becoming a forbidden ground. And
Yep.
So like I guess we should talk about that a little bit. One of the very first things that's established in this book is that long ago there was this god that suddenly appeared in the sky, and like you could see his face, and it's like a broken face of a god. And most of the time its eyes are closed, but sometimes its eyes open up, and wherever it's staring gets fucked. It's like his eyes are like pure fucking radiation, basically, is the way that I've been kind of thinking about it.
Yeah. That's how I interpreted it. It's like this like cultivation. I don't know if you guys ever heard of like the Ukrainian video game called Stalker, right? Or like about people who go into the zone to find supernatural things or whatever, and sometimes it's hard to get out. Well, that's every forbidden zone, and then the broken faced god up there, when he opens his eyes, the zone, an area on this planet will become transformed into a forbidden zone, and it gets its own ecology, it gets its own higher level personhood things there. Weird, and to use Deathblade's wonderful word he created for this, things become gruish. Okay, gruish things. It feels like it's real when I say it, right? Gruish things. It's not just weird. It could be weird. It could be supernatural. It could be super technological. It could be. It's like schizotech radiation.
Yeah, it's a weird combination of like dark ritual, like curses and dark rituals and poisons and like the shit you think is there in the night, you know, like it's
boogeyman, you know, like all of it.
Like
that's all. It's all gruish. Like if we were playing D&D, a mind flayer would be gruish. It would be gruish as hell.
Oh god,
right?
That would be gruish. Like you know, like Parasite or like something like that.
Oh
where
yeah,
it's like
that would be gruish as hell for real. That would fall in that range, but also the superpower, like superheroes, like X-Men would be. You were in a forbidden zone and it changed you, but it didn't corrupt you fully, and the powers you gain would be gruish, or the ability to use these strange gruish things. And but that's besides the point. Anyway, the broken face of the god opening their eyes. He opens once, it becomes a forbidden zone. Opens again, it magnifies the area in that area. Opens a third time, it supercharges it. It gives personhood. And also some other weird things that I'm learning in the books that basically just assume the world is constantly flowing around the main character, and what you know isn't always the truth.
Yeah, no, I do love that there's kind of an unreliable narrator aspect to this book where like Zhu Qing won't give away everything he knows, and the book will like there is history that the characters are aware of that the readers are not, and they just like don't talk about it until it's relevant sometimes. So they pull the rug out from under you sometimes.
Let me let people know, and never assume things because they'll make an ass out of you and me, because before you meet the main character, this main character has already lived a novel's worth of crap before you meet him in this gruish forbidden zone where he's fighting for his. He had already survived some nonsense, and sometimes you get just a hint, just like a taste of what this character has gone through, and the story loves to, when it gives you a hint of the history of this MC and
they drop a
why
lot of
he
hints.
is the way, and they're still dropping hints where I'm at 800 chapters in.
I mean, they dropped a thing in like the first, I want to say like 5 chapters that's like foreshadowing something that gets revealed 300 chapters later.
Yeah,
Like
like the storytelling is so unique, and the traits that make each person who they are, their style of moving, and the style of let's continue, because I was about to start talking about Master 7 for a second. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
just
no,
yet.
we got to get there. But yeah, seriously. So we meet Juching. He is in like what I'm imagining is like the super mutant zones of Fallout, like hiding
So
in shadows, like being like, oh, okay, there's things patrolling. I guess I'm just going to be in this burrow for the next 36 hours and not move a muscle until they move away, and then I'll go find something to eat. Like, just like horrors that he's living through. And so he goes and he finds like he's staying in the city because he knows where something is and he wants to go like collect it, if I remember right.
Yeah, this was like every area. There's like a governor's, like, I'm not gonna say mansion, but like an abode, right? Where the rich people who had soldiers and leadership were when the eyes open, and all they're dead or they're zombies or they've been turned, right? Keep in mind, being here, unless you can get stuff that can remove the toxin of existing in this area.
Yeah, they call it mutagen throughout the book.
The mutagen, the mutagen, if you can't remove the mutagen, you will turn and become a monster, or you will die, or you will explode, or whatever, right? Mutagen used to not exist.
The basic level of cultivation in this world is just have a technique that can prevent you from dying to mutagen long enough for you to get strong enough to actually deal with it. Like,
I love this house. Like, I love the explanation of the cultivation back then, and it changes as it moves forward, right? But like back then, it's like, yeah, you just got to find a way to focus it to a curse mark, right? And then if you're lucky enough, you'll find some medicine or a training technique that can expunge this mutagen curse mark from your body before it like metastasizes and kills you, and you explode into 1,000 pieces, or become a horrible monster, or degenerate into whatever. But yeah,
or I mean, hey, you might survive to old age, like 35 or 40.
Ooh, yeah.
No, seriously, it immediately projects this like legitimately like a Mad Max or Fallout style apocalyptic world from the get go, and like that is such a very different premise than any of Ergen's other books that it's immediately entrancing. But so he goes and finds like an MC item in this governor's mansion. Since it happens in like the first chapter, it's like this violet crystal, and he discovers upon experimenting with it that unlike everyone else that's at his level, he has the ability to like purify out the mutagen that's building up in his system using this crystal. And like obviously, if you've been paying attention to us, you can obviously understand why that would be a huge deal in this world.
Because I mean, like, you got to realize a lot of people don't get even the cultivation is kind of common, like basic key condensation, but even cultivating a little bit, which you need to even be able to survive in this hellhole. But cultivating requires you letting the energy of the laws and the energy of the area you're in enter your body, and doing that's kind of a bad idea because it's filled with mutagen.
Yeah,
but you need it, right? So
yeah, well, it's like if you've read like the Robert Jordan the Wheel of Time books, like it's like the male half of Saidar or whatever, like the corruption power. Like it's like if you want to do anything meaningful in this world, you have to also become corrupted and like slowly go insane or die. So it's it becomes a huge boon for him just being able to do anything without like to go wherever he wants, to go into these areas that are super high risk just to exist for these other people. And he can not only exist there, he can like find the hidden opportunities there and search for dangerous things. And he does like to search for dangerous things because one of the things we immediately learn about Zhu Qing is that he is willing to murder people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not even like normal murder. He is as vicious as the world requires him to be. There's none of this second chances. There's none of this slight me. There's none of this waiting and biding your time. It's a quick, fast, in a hurry, ruin this person's life, inflict as much pain as possible, because I cannot risk living in a world where someone can threaten me like that.
Yeah, no. If anyone can threaten me, I cannot give them a second chance, because people who give second chances all died out in this world thousands of years ago.
Mercy is only a trait for the very rich and very powerful, and he is very neither of those. And like, honestly, when you're reading this, you're at first you're like, is this even a cultivation novel at first? Because it's almost a survival horror for a lot of it. Like, a lot of the situations he puts himself in, like,
yeah, like he lives in a scavenger base camp for a while in the book.
Dude, I have to, like, there are chances that you would go into any random forbidden zone. You need to go because that's where you're going to get money. That's where you're going to get resources. You need these resources, one, so you can buy stuff to purge the mutagen from your body, and two, you need to eat. You need money. All right? Where he's at, the economy's messed up. And you need a certain minimum amount of money to even make it into a garbage city that has walls and protection from the monsters and food.
Yeah, it's a slight step up from wandering the wasteland with no shelter. Very basic step up.
And like you realize, like, there's all of these little micro governments happening on the side, and then it becomes more relevant as he gets older and experience. Like, you see more of the world's perspective, and not even the world of his area, right? Yeah. And then you realize you've had, like, when he was growing up, and all of his experiences are like a survival horror for that first couple books. He's fighting for his freaking life. Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
And
there's like, I don't know, like 10 super crazy life-threatening situations for him almost immediately in like the first, like before he even really becomes a cultivator. Like,
yeah, it's brutal. And like you realize, like I realized, like I went over the beginning, book again because getting ready for this, and I realized the tone where I'm at. This character, the characters here choose to take risks for the sake of accomplishing their goals. They're putting themselves in a dangerous situation where they are where I'm at, like, intentionally. At the beginning of this book, he's not choosing any of that. It's coming for him, right? Like, it's just existing is dangerous. And the tone shift is so interesting, and it's such a struggle for him there. But when you get the big viewpoint of the world, you realize where he was at and why he was able to make it, and why the people around him were as weak as they were, is because they were legitimately on one of the safest places
still
left on basically like the equivalent of like imagine if the world ended, like Mad Max world ended, right? But your civilization was on Australia, an island that wasn't directly hit by anything. That's where this character is at, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still awful.
He literally had to enter the Thunderdome and fight a giant snake to get in the shit city. The Thunderdome, and then that becomes a running conversation for another character I love that you probably don't even know yet, but regarding snakes. Like, it's so good. I have an idea about who that might be, but yeah, I don't know. Oh god. So he gets picked up on the side of the road. Like there's a guy that's traveling with some other like nomad wanderers that have a home base in this scavenger city, and it's a dude by the name of Sergeant Thunder, which like already that's like
Oh, I miss Sergeant Thunder. Oh, what a
I
great
know.
character.
He's amazing. And he's just a dude that genuinely, like, not even a crazy amount. Like, he respects Zhu Qing because he realizes that Zhu Qing is cold enough to survive in this world, and therefore worth investing emotions into. Uh, so, like, he takes care of him, and, like, not crazy stuff, but, like, gives him, like, a place to sleep and some new clothes and food. And, like, Zhu Qing is, like, such a broken person. He doesn't even, like, sleep on his bed. He takes the new clothes that look nice and he's like, oh, I treasure these, they're precious, I'm gonna hide them away so they won't be taken from me, and I'm gonna sleep under the bed so that with my eye on the door so that if anyone comes in I can murder them before they know I'm here.
No, like he's definitely in a like he survived some garbage, and anyone who would live like that. And he's meticulous. He's meticulous, man.
He did not survive by accident by any means.
Like just him walking home, the fact that no matter what, he's gonna take a different path. He's gonna stick to the shadows. He's gonna look at people's feet and watch their stuff, and he can't control looking at people's necks to see where he can slit their throats.
Yeah, that is great when he does it before he learns to hide that. Like him meeting Zhang San in the boatyard where like he walks in and the captain's leading him there and he's just like, hey little brother, how's it going? You want this cool piece for a Dharma skiff? We're cool, right? And the captain's like, yo, why are you so nice? It took me forever to get you to be nice. He's like, that kid was staring at my throat that entire conversation.
Yo, by the way, that guy, I love him too. He don't really he doesn't. Know what he cultivates? He cultivates relationships. That guy can see Mount Tai. He can see
that dude has eyes.
No matter what, and the captain. He looked at the captain. Is like you investment. He looked at the main character. You investment. He just makes the moves, bro. Oh, I even loved like the main character becoming more human and then meeting another kid that was very much like him. Remember the Hound boy,
the mute,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved that was so great. It feels like he's playing like Big Brother to that dude, and I kind of love it. Like,
like the mute is straight up just him. It literally is the main character with slightly less karmic luck, basically, ever so little, but maybe not because you have a Dharma protector like Zhu Qing. That's a pretty good Dharma protector, Unfortunately, you're not a Sib, but continuing from the scavenger area, I'm not trying to spoil anything with Sergeant Thunder. But
they go out on adventures. He tries to get enough of a basis to become a true cultivator in the first part, and so he's doing various things. One of the most notable people he meets is Grandmaster Bai. I know, right? These are all nostalgic, heartwarming characters for you now to hear about. I get it.
Man.
And Grandmaster Bai is, I think, really what qualifies this to be an Urgen novel, because you can't have an Urgen main character that doesn't have a deep understanding of plants and vegetation.
Yeah, that's true. Why is that? Like, why is it? Is he just a botanist or something? He must be. Dude. And then he must have gotten really into boats one year, too. And then he got really into, like, astrology right after that. Like, that's got to be it, right?
I mean, it would explain a lot. But yeah, he gives our main character kind of this, like, basic... He's like he teaches the main character and really, like, guides him in a lot of principles. And like, you learn a lot about Zhu Qing. Like, he doesn't show up and, like, start asking the Grandmaster to start immediately like teaching him. He's not angry or arrogant like that. Like he shows up, he brings for what him is a fairly extravagant gift. To bring like either a rare plant or like some medicinal pill he's found or bought or something that he can offer to the teacher. And like sits outside the tent and just listens until eventually he started like being able to ask and answer questions better than the guys, the actual disciples, at which point he got invited into the tent. But it was this like very like the respect he showed and like the true appreciation of the knowledge was what really got him into Grandmaster Bai's heart. And like it's like he doesn't trust people at all. He doesn't trust anyone. It's so hard for him to feel safe with anyone. So when he finds those people that actually do give him pockets of humanity, they become so meaningful and so deep almost instantaneously.
Definitely like appreciated like the focus on like being willing to learn, being the driving force. The fact that one, he's a good kid. Mm-hmm. He's like at his core, he's a good kid. Despite being brutal.
He's a good person who has learned to be who he is when we meet him. And it's like both beautiful and sad.
And the fact that he has that trace that at his core, he's good, but he's also smart enough to be brutal and efficient leads to his run-in with probably the run-in with the single greatest teacher in might be in Cultivation novels I've read. Master Seventh, okay? And
I mean, like, the only ones that really kind of rival him for me so far are, like, Patriarch Subudi and Desolate Era, and, like, people... Yeah, really just him, I think.
Dude, but the crazy part about Master Seventh, and this is a bit of is his teaching is... All right, so you know how when he formally accepted him as a student, and it was this big event, and like I felt like I was there reading it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Going through that path, you realize that just like all of his students, Master Seventh hides what he can do so deeply, and so many plans within plans, lies within lies, obstruction within obstruction. It literally...
I knew this dude was deep when he...
It should be Master Seven's Gambit, not Xanatos' Gambit, okay? We should rename the trope. Because the Gambit is so long-reaching, so far-reaching, okay? It's hard to... It's smart. It's like in Reverend Insanity, I fell in love with smart people being smart and manipulating, and also like leveraging things. Mm-hmm. And that is what Master Seventh and all of his students stand for. And by 1 degree of separation, 7 blood eyes, and everything that they're about, and why they are actually... At first, I was like, they're not a good sect, right?
Yeah,
but no,
it's so good. It's so good that it tricks you.
They're actually an incredible sect. Like
they're one of the most righteous sects that we've met in the entire book, and it's insane because they get shown as like when we went in, I'm like, this sect is Mos Eisley. Like this is a hive of villainy and sin, and like this is like the worst sect, and I'm waiting for him to get out of this and go to the Violet Fate
sect, or
like and then I'm like, oh no, it was here all along.
They were great. They were the good guys. Because they're fair. Because they're meritocracy. Because they're fair.
It's all
7
profits.
blood eyes. It is brutal, right? Because the world is brutal, right? But they're actually super protecting everybody. And 2, they're fair, right? Because money in 7 blood eyes is the most fair tool of judgment. Yeah. It is, and you realize that in other sects and in other species, other races, and godchilds and stuff, shit is brutal. Like they are. 7 Blood Eyes might be a libertarian, like wet dream. Okay,
yeah, actually,
it's not. It's the libertarian version of a utopia, which is kind of a nightmare to normal people, but in the world of Cultivation, it's actually wonderful to be a part of.
Especially in this world of Cultivation.
if I was in this hell world, this multi hell world that they live in, and I had to join a sect, Seven Blood Eyes would probably be it, because I get to avoid the mind control. I get to avoid the possessions.
You're not one of 137 kingdoms whose only reason for existence is to be food.
Oh, dude. Oh, that's so common. It's so common.
Oh, yeah, we're the sect where we just raise kingdoms and then eat them and then replace them with new kingdoms. That's our sect. Like,
or like, we're not a sect where we cultivate dream demons, and and then you fight by letting your dream demon take possession of you, and you have to use like willpower to resist the demon.
I'm just
if it ever fails, no, it's scary.
Any person that cultivates a grue, I'm like, you're an idiot. You shouldn't do that. Stop.
But they're so good. The grue cultivation is so good.
Oh, they're insane. But like every time, I'm like, it's like making a contract with the devil. Like, it doesn't matter how good it looks, it's gonna go bad by the end.
You're not wrong. But like, this is a world where you kind of, everything's a contract with the devil, unless your race has an emperor still alive, or you have the dictation of an emperor to rely on. And humans have that. I don't know if they've introduced that to you. The sword sages.
Yeah, actually, they've recently been introduced.
And guess what? There's a whole human empire still. There's a whole racial imperial war that's going on in the background throughout this whole story.
That doesn't even surprise me a little bit.
Like, throughout hundreds of races, and there's weapons of mass destruction. I just need to point that out. There are weapons of mass destruction, and we're not talking about the magic treasures that make a sect a sect. No, there's steps above that for entire races, and steps above that for entire factions.
Again, I'm not surprised to hear that, but I am excited to get to it. God, no, this book, like all cultivation stories, it starts out so small and then grows into something that's like just incredible and world-spanning and insane. But I do want to talk just a little bit more about Scavenger Base Camp, because he goes to Grandmaster Bai. Grandmaster Bai teaches him how to make white boluses, which are like the basic mutagen rejection thing. Like, if that's what the lowest people that can afford to buy any medicine at all are buying to get rid of their mutagen, and it's like, it barely works. But like, if you don't have it, you're doing nothing. And so he goes and like he learns how to make these. He goes and like buys a few from the medicine store, and he's like walking home, and these two guys show up in the street, and they start like being like, "Oh, I see you bought that medicine. Well, you could donate it to us because we're like the big shit on this street." And Xu Qing, like any other novel, you're gonna see the main characters be like, "No, this is my stuff. I'm gonna defeat you. Ha ha ha." Xu Qing's like, "Oh shit. Oh god, I'm so scared. Yes, no, absolutely. I'll give you these 5." And then like walks away looking like an idiot, embarrassed. But then, like, the second he's not in the public view, he's in an alleyway watching the person he just gave that medicine to. And then the next day, if you were paying attention to him, you'd see him following that guy, learning where he lives, where he sleeps, who he eats with. Like,
when he's alone, how strong is he? Does he have any tools? How fast can I kill him? Will anyone know? Is he important to his group? Like real serial killer hours.
Like, he knew this shit about him like 3 days later. Like, his entire existence was focused on this man threatened my life, and not even like in a serious way, in like a kind of minor thug Yakuza kind of way, like just like a dude on the street being a jerk. And like, little did he know he'd provoked the fiendish zoo.
I love that nickname given to him by Lord Master Free Spirit. I love that character too.
He's
Master
one of my favorite characters.
So good, dude. God damn, and the constant misunderstanding. I'm sorry, I can't go on.
I know. No, but yeah, Xu Qing murders that dude, and then like takes a snake that he found, injects the snake's venom into the dude, and the dude melts into nothingness and soaks the ground. And like, That's one of our first interactions of Zhu Qing dealing with a problem. And it so sets the tone for how he faces everything moving forward, which I had to say before we got into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which was absolutely a Patriarch Golden Vajra Warrior.
Golden Vajra Warrior. Dude, he was so cool and so strong in the beginning, and then he became cool and one of my favorite characters in the story. And he stays around because he sees the
He
guys.
He's one of the most interesting characters in the book.
He's us.
He's literally us.
He knows the ancient tomes because he reads Cultivation novels, guys. He reads the Cultivation novels. He's so genre savvy that instead of being deleted forever and being a footnote in the path of Fiendish Shoe, he was like, I would rather give up my physical body and become an ally of Fiendish Zhu and restart my cultivation following him because he's the main character of this world.
I love he didn't even really fuck up. Like he just had
everything right.
His underlings fucked with Zhu Qing, and like they pushed it too far. And by the time it got to him, he's like he didn't realize who it was. He had never interacted with them. Like the second he saw this dude, he's like, oh shit. That's a main character. Oh fuck, that's a main character. I'm not the main character. I'm the stepping stone.
Dude, he tried he did every time you would critique the first bad guy, right? He was like, oh, he didn't try hard enough, whatever. No, this was a guy 2 great circles above the main character, hunting him down. Every tool activated his entire sect. Every group used every ally, and he still couldn't stop him. And when he realized, you're not going to let me break through to solve this problem, I knew it. Let me just give it to you. Let me just give you it. And to prove that I mean it.
Let me blow up and go into this thing. You can use the thing, it's fine.
It's yours, I promise.
He even picked a thing close to Zhu Qing's heart so that it would be hard for him to throw it away.
Right? Yo, and dude, I love to this day, he would do something and they'll ask Master Free Spirit and he'll have like comments on it. We didn't talk about the Shadow either.
The Shadow and Master Free Spirit's combination is hysterical. Them constantly vying for merits from Zhu Qing.
Because Fiendish Zhu is so scary. But they also don't... They all, like Master Free Spirit is so smart. He's so genre savvy that he can't see the forest for the trees, so he can't see that he's done enough for Fiendish Zhu to get his freedom. That he keeps thinking every time he's about to be freed, he's assuming that he's going to kill him. So he's like, "No, let me serve you forever. Let me serve you. Let me serve the madam. Let me get strong." He's like, "No, I can break through. You're sure? No, I can do it. I promise you."
I've genuinely had to stop reading because I was laughing too hard, like 4 or 5 times. Reading some of his shit. And he's just there. He's just there all the time. So yeah, I mean, like we didn't talk about the Shadow, but like we'll leave that for you guys to discover.
There's so much to talk about the Shadow, but like there's so much, but there's really not, but there is. That's this whole story. Like
I love him trying to tell Zhu Qing stuff and Vajra mistranslating his shit so he doesn't get credit for it. Like, all right. But all of that like is the first part of the book, and that's him getting to the basic level of like, hey, I've done enough cultivation for people to look at me different, and now I can go join a real cultivation sect. And so he goes and he joins. He gets invited to a sect called the Seven Blood Eyes, which we talked about a little bit. But it is absolutely just presented as this like it's just this villainous area where like anything is possible as long as you've got the money or the connections to cover it up. And like crime is almost encouraged as long as it's not fucking with the profits of powerful people.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what I can talk about without spoiling, because I don't want to spoil any real important plot point because it's so good. You want to experience it. So let's talk about characters for a second. All right. Mm-hmm. We're sticking to the first 2 books. So I mean, I could talk about Seven Blood. I could talk about the story becoming Law and Order for about, I don't know, 110 chapters.
Xu Ching, when he goes to the Seven Blood Eyes, is immediately assigned as like a low level like patrolman in the what is essentially the police of the sect.
It's so
and
good.
Like he does not hesitate to abuse that authority like immediately. Not in a way that ever like makes him problems. He's super smart about it. He only does it when like using that power ends the situation entirely in his favor. But like he's so smart. He's so devious and so deceptive. And it's like, I remember the part where he started talking about his secrets and he's like, all right, I need to have like 4 levels of acceptable secrets. This shit no one ever knows. I'm okay with like revealing this one if the situation gets dire. And then if that doesn't work, I'll have this trump card. And I'll use that trump card as like the secret that they can discover to disguise the 3rd level of thing. Like,
he truly is Master 7 student, man. Because that is one of the key principles of being from the 7th peak. Right? The 7th peak is
do not let people know how strong you are.
Yeah, you can't. It's always about subversion.
Unless you can deceive them with your strength.
Pretty much. It's literally like Liar Gang.
No,
but they're all
so good.
They're all good. All of them. First Sib, second Sib, third Sib. They're all good. They're all good. Yep. And like I want to talk about like, what is it? Third Sib. Third Sib is cool.
I don't feel like I don't know nearly enough about Third Sib. I want to know a lot more.
It takes a while, and you realize like just how thorough Master 7th is in picking his apprentices. Like,
I really liked when we got to go on a little journey with him and like see him picking apprentices out in the wild.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And then like he's like, which one do you think it'll be? And like he's like, he's gonna pick the first one. That like we all got an emotional attachment to that first one. And then Xu Qing's like, no, this one random dude. And he's like, why? He's the only one that was cautious enough.
That's real. That's real. That's real. I love how I love how like the reason why we're when Xu Qing's coming up, we're like, man, I wonder why Master 7 hasn't directly reached out. But then you realize that he handed out probably thousands of those chips to see which one would rise out of the goo pot that is 7 Blood Eyes, or even make it to 7 Blood Eyes to be
the whole world's
one.
a fucking goo pot. That's what's great about this series.
The whole world's a goo pot. Oh, that's
why every character
real.
in this is so fucking interesting. Is because like the ones that survived this have evolved either in personality or physically to become capable of surviving in this world. And it's like it makes every character interesting and unique because like you can't having something special about you is the baseline for survival in this world. Everyone that isn't is fodder for somebody else's technique or died a long time ago.
And then I love how the story doesn't skip on that, even in the beginning, where like in real life, sometimes tragedies just freaking happen. Sometimes good people die. Sometimes your natural talents aren't enough and you see the ripple effects of that, and all you can do is really just mourn, right? Like, or you see like the things you have to do to survive. Like, think about the 3 kids that joined Seven Blood Eyes at the same time as him. The 2 girls and the guy, and each of their ripple effects of what they went through and the things they had to do to survive. Yo, man, that's just it's part of the game, and it only magnifies as time moves forward. As some people choose to, I am comfortable what level I am, but I want to live down here because that is going to be fine for me. I'm comfortable enough where I'm at. Or the people who try to ascend above where they should be and get hammered down. This doesn't play games, and I love it.
It really tries to establish that, like, just because someone is Zhu Qing's friend does not mean at all that they are safe. And I really like that because it's raised the stakes for the show. Like, anytime someone shows up, I'm happy to see them, but I'm also a little bit afraid that like some shit's about to go down.
And where I'm at, like, I had situations where, like, we're not even sure that Xu Jing is even the main character, or if he's even safe, because even the main character isn't safe in this story.
And we've met, much like Patriarch Golden Vajra Warrior was able to spot Zhu Qing as a main character, he meets other people that are 100% main characters. Some people that actually, in a way, have like better claims to main character role than he does.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. Those characters are great, by the way. There's so many good characters in the story. There's so many good bad guys. There's so many good guys. And guess what? The bad guys are actually, like, this is very much good or bad is based off perspective and your race and your position in the world. It really, everyone just wants to survive, man. Like, and because of that, you see, from depending on the point of view, you see what's going on, and those point of views can change too. Like, brutal enemies can become allies the next day depending on the situation. Like, it's so well done.
I have to imagine that Zhu Qing's had to have bought another plank of enemies by now. That thing's had so many names written and crossed off on it.
Dude, that plank is so good. So good. I love the idea of him underlining the captain, crossing out the captain,
question mark on the captain,
question marking the captain. Dude, I love when the captain and him are running a big game, and they have to go through this thing where they take the advantage of beating each other up to try to convince.
Oh no, you're gonna have to look really beat up.
They always take it so far, man.
Just like stabbing each other, like just venting all these frustrations and interacting with each other the way they do.
And they're both so powerful and have so much main character energy. They're not gonna die to this damage. Like, if it was anybody else, they would definitely be dead. But these two characters are so savage that, like, it doesn't matter, and that never changes. Like it's so, they're so good, and they get into so much trouble, and I love it. And I love the fact that they're getting into trouble because they're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
And they know they're supposed to, and Master Seventh wants them to, because Master Seventh himself be getting into trouble, and then his master be looking out for him. Yo, it's so
yeah, no, I mean, like,
so
that's
cold.
everyone in this book is like has to think 3 steps ahead, and so it's like it's this clash of strategies and ideas and techniques that are like fascinating, and it's like who can hide themselves more deeply is what it comes down to a lot of the time. And like, these people are not, they scheme so deeply. Everyone does. Where it's like, no matter what happens, there's always another motive.
And the powers are all so different and so powerful. The system is so not a system that even in the way you do combat has to be within deceit. Because you think about like Hunter x Hunter or or JoJo's. Knowing what someone's stand or knowing what someone's nin technique is like half the battle before the battle happens.
Mhm.
Except in this one is people have techniques within techniques. And if you see what their ability does, you've lost. Right? Like you've straight up lost. Like,
if you didn't prepare countermeasures for it already, you're fucked.
Everything requires prep time. That's why I love Master Seventh, because he's Cultivation Batman.
Yeah, no, the second he dropped, I've never lost a game of Go, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker.
Yo, no, like for real. Like he be like a little bit of a spoiler, but not because I'm gonna be generic. He be scamming gods, bro. He be scamming personhood. Like that's a level of playing the Game of Thrones for a mortal with no personhood to be scamming and stealing and taking from high level, like not like low level guys in D&D, not like, oh, I have a small domain. No, I'm talking about grand domain gods, gods of even witnessing them will kill you, because you'll see every possibility of your life, and the god will decide,
yeah,
I want to rob you of this potential because you witnessed me and I didn't like it. Or
I don't see you. I see all of your futures and all of your pasts, and I'm going to interact with the one I want to.
Also, the supernatural mysteries in this story later become absolutely insane. So after they leave Law and Order arc, this is jumping forward. This is a jump forward for you too. There is a locked up. There's a locked up documentary arc, except it's like Cultivation. It's an SCP. It's like SCP fan fiction, like SCP story in Cultivation with like cognito hazards. Like cognito hazards become a real story plot point, and you have to like figure out mysteries, and you're being given hints. Figure out mysteries as the main character is figuring out, and no one's getting all the information, but it's all hidden in the subtext as you're reading it. Because unfortunately, it is fortunate. It's all some like pseudo House of Leaves type stuff, man. It is.
Thank God Deathblade's translating this. If he wasn't constantly giving me references to when shit happened in the book and like reminders of who characters were and shit, I would be so much more lost in this than I am, but it makes it so easy to follow. I don't know, man. It's such a good book. It's really been incredible so far. I'm really looking forward to catching up to it.
I want to talk about more of it, but like I really don't want to spoil. Guys, dude, read the book.
The Grubloom. The whole thing with him following the Grubloom.
Oh, it was so good.
Like, it was not a long part, but it was awesome.
It was so good. Like, I remember that. Dude, I can't even really talk about it because the idea of getting to see characters that you had met in the scavenger area grown up again. Every time you see one of the few that survived the scavenger place again, and you see the fellowship that happens, and you see how far the kid came, because that was his name there. See how far the kid came?
Oh, yeah.
Or
the
see
kid. God, it was so different at the beginning.
Yeah, dude. And then the higher he climbs, you realize that like that kid persona is still there, but it's there's a veneer. It has been refined and cleaned up, but at his core, he's still the same kid. He still has the same thing. He's still as caring and as loving as he was back then. This is the same guy that if you were someone that was important to him, he could be king of the world. He'll still come visit you or visit your grave. He'll pour alcohol. He'll play a song for you because you're still an important part of his life, even if for you, it might have been something small. For him, it was everything.
Relationships
I
are
love that.
literally the most important thing to Zhu Qing, and makes him so relatable, and like you want him to succeed because he cares about the people around him so deeply. It also doesn't if they should die.
Oh yeah, if they should die, they're gonna die. Oh, dude, you got
The whole
keep reading.
prison arc with the Yan Yan, like having to witness his experiments in the prison.
Oh yeah, Yan Yan,
dude.
Oh dude, he corrupted that girl forever. By the way, oh
yeah,
man.
No, I can tell already.
She's so cooked. And then
that was her traumatic experience that shaped who she became. Zhu Qing had the city. She had that. All right. I guess we should do a little bit of business. It feels like the kind of the natural calling point on this, which I hate to say because I could talk about this book for like
Let's do some business. Let's see here. So let's get ahead of it for the people who get it this far. What's going to be the next episode?
Oh, God, that's a great question.
Overgeared ended. I'd like to talk about Overgeared because I have thoughts. I have so many thoughts about Overgeared. And
yeah, okay. I can catch that up for the next one. I'm still behind on that, but that's because I let my mom start reading and lost my place and need to refind it, and that's been a whole daunting task.
That's a lot of chapters, dude. To go through. I finished it, and I'm gonna save that. But the people on Discord know I have so many thoughts. And Boku no Hero Academia ended too. I have so many thoughts seriously. For that. I have so many thoughts. I you know what? I'll change that. I hated that. I hated that last arc. I hated it. I hated the ending.
There were 3 cool things in the entirety of it.
Yeah, dude.
And most of them were at the beginning.
Right? Jesus, talk about falling off a cliff.
And it lasted like a year and a half or something. It was
2 years, dude. Too long, bro. Too long for mid. I know somebody gonna get mad on YouTube from that. I know, but yo, I'm sorry,
it is what it is.
It's bad.
But yeah, speaking of the Discord, that is usually going to be the best way to get a hold of us if you need to, if you'd like to suggest a book for us or talk with some of the community or find a place to chat with other novel enjoyers who are reading your particular book. It's a great resource.
Yep. We have a little, I'm not going to say it, but if you ask around, they can put you on some books. It's great. Anything else? You
can email us at tiger.rollercoaster@gmail.com, but I don't think we check that very often. So,
I check it once a month right now, but now that we're back at it, I'll start checking it more often.
But yeah, I think Overgeared for the next episode would probably be good. As always, I hope to have less of a delay than before this one, but life happens a lot.
It comes at you fast, and I'm gonna try to get back on the thing.
All right. Well, for that, I guess I will say thank you to Yuki Okami and James and all of our other very long time Patreon supporters. All that support has helped us keep the podcast on servers and able to be found. So we appreciate all of that and all of the support we get from everyone who listens, downloads, watches, and does anything in any of our communities. So thank you all. And with that, I think we are free to move on to we didn't even get to talk about.
Oh yeah, I want to thank Samuel as well. Samuel Francis, he's one of our elders, and we didn't get to talk about
the Sea Zombie War.
Sea Zombie War. Oh, forgot about that. Things. It's
statues.
Like important, but it's dude. Oh, Jesus. Yo, you taking me back this so long ago. Yeah. Super fun.
We didn't even get to talk about any of his girlfriends. Oh, we didn't get to talk about like almost any of the Sims. We like
No, didn't get to talk about the Great Phoenix. Oh man.
Oh, we didn't even get to talk about Dharma skiffs and Dharma boats.
Oh, dude, the boat cultivation's so clean, bro. The Dharma ships and the Dharma.
We didn't even get to talk about the solitary vast heaven cleaver or whatever the fuck the name of that thing is.
I forgot about that too. Oh, it is important. It's actually a super important part of the story.
But the cultivation, I'm just gonna say, like we didn't even get to talk about like how cool all the individual steps of the cultivation stories are, though. That's something I've come to expect from an Ergen novel.
And each one is so unique in each different. You didn't get to talk about him getting his imperial ability,
or Dharma apertures, or
oh my god,
or imperial palaces, or.
Life lamps illuminating palaces.
Dude, the fucking life lamps were so cool.
Dude, it's just the beginning. They're like, you realize, like in the grand scheme of things, they're just candles illuminating a vast world that you have to get to that point, and then you realize the differences between like before you would look at people. And they're in gold core, and just their aura from being in gold core, you couldn't even look at them. You couldn't even look at them without the world twisting, and you realize those people that you were looking at, that he couldn't even look at the time, were jobbers. Yeah. Like, there's so many levels to things. But, oh my god, it's so powerful. The story is so good. Or just
it's great. Like legitimately, in my opinion, Ergen has gotten better at writing once again in this novel, and that's not a thing I say lightly because he's one of my most respected authors of all time.
We didn't get to talk about the Sword Sage arc and the fact that after I read it and the events that go around with the Sword Sages, I was literally like, at work and in my mind, I would do something super impressive, and I would go in my mind, like the nerd I am. I have a sword in my mind because okay. Let me break this down. Okay,
we didn't even get to talk about poisons, but talk about the sword.
Okay, sword sages are very special in that they have this technique passed down from the ancient emperor that they all practice as servants of the imperial family, where they cultivate a sword, and they can choose to make that sword cultivation. This technique where you slash a sword, you can choose to encase it in your palace when you progress, and you'll build up the sword. Now, there are some sword sages that have been around so long. The unique part of this technique here is the longer you cultivate or the longer you hold and charge your sword, right? That mental image of the sword, while ever drawing it, the stronger it gets. Forever. It just constantly. And there are guys that be like, oh, they got injured cultivating, or they chose not to progress, or they stayed here, or they deliberately dedicate themselves to the emperor, the idea not emperor, to humanity, protecting humanity, and they choose to lock themselves out at the end of their life. They get frozen, holding on, charging that sword, or you get injured, and I choose not to fight. So cool. I would rather risk dying. I'd rather die than draw my sword because I want to save this use of my sword to save humanity. And you hear them, and they do that. I have a sword, and it's so good. It's so it sounds cringe coming from me. You got to read it. It's so.
I'm excited.
There will be guys who be like, "Why did you? What happened to you?" Like I've been doing it. It's like, yo, I might be at this state, but I was originally at this state. Must have fallen. I did this. I did that. But I've been saving
draw my sword.
I've been saving this sword for 800 years. I've been saving this sword for 400 years. I've been saving this sword for 2,000 years, waiting. I hope they come here
And it's do or die, and they'll have sword sages who've been like, I've been waiting to use my sword and die for humanity for a long time. That's why I've been keeping these old bones around. And heroes, bro, humanity. Like you read it, you're like, humanity. Fuck yeah, we're trying so hard because the world is scary. And our best humans, our best and brightest, sometimes aren't enough because. It's so good. You got to read the Sword Sage arc. It's so good.
Please read this book, guys. Like if you're somehow still on the fence, read this book. We'll have to call it there. Oh God, I want to talk about it more, but like seriously, go.
We're definitely gonna have a Knights. We definitely have to have a Knights at some point. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, once this one's done, I want to do a Knights like very quickly after it's finished. Maybe we can see if we can contact Deathblade and get him on, because that would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic. Heck, might do 2 nights. Might do a night up to a certain point and then do it again, like we did with Overgear, dude. Because
yeah, maybe.
All right.
But look forward to that, guys. And as always, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for listening, and peace.
Peace.
Tiger Roller Coaster Productions. Tigers are scary. You try to get off.